My parents refused to let me propose because my sister was still single. So I cut them off, got married without them, and found out she lied about everything. Hey everyone! Before we jump into today's video, I need your help. We've noticed the channel is losing some traction, and subscribing is one of the best ways you can support us. It's quick, free, and it helps us keep bringing you awesome content. Your support means the world. Let's keep this channel growing together. Thanks so much. Now let's start the video. Hey Reddit! This might be long, but I need to get this all out because I'm seriously starting to think my family lives on another planet. I, 32 male, work in cybersecurity consulting, nothing flashy, just enough to pay the bills and keep things comfortable. I've been with my girlfriend, well, fiancé now, Bianca, 31 female, for about 3 years. She owns her own legal consulting firm, super sharp, super driven, and honestly has more backbone than most people I know. She doesn't take BS from anyone, which is probably why my parents can't stand her, but I'll get to that. Anyway, for the past year or so, I've been thinking about proposing. I'm not the sappy type, and we both aren't into big flashy stuff. We just know what we have works, and I figured her birthday would be the perfect time to do it. Simple, intimate, meaningful. So I remembered something from when I was younger. My grandma, Dad's mom, had told me once that when I met someone I wanted to marry, I could have one of her rings. It was this moment that really stuck with me. It wasn't just words either. She was always pretty intentional with what she said. That was kind of her thing. No sugarcoating, no fake politeness. She was blunt but thoughtful. She passed away a few years ago, and all her jewelry went to my mom, Nadine. Now Nadine and I have never been super close. She's the kind of person who plays favorites, and spoiler alert, I'm not the favorite. That title's been taken since 1994 by my younger sister Delaney, who's now 30. Growing up, it was like I was the backup sibling. If Delaney wanted something, she got it. If I wanted something, I had to prove why I deserved it, and then still probably get told. Maybe for your birthday. Delaney crashed her first car at 20, brand new one a month later. I got a used sedan that didn't have working AC until I was 24 and paid half of it myself. I got good grades, held part-time jobs, never asked for much. Delaney? She tried college twice, dropped out both times, and then went soul-searching in Bali for 6 weeks with money. My parents swore they didn't have to help me with a security certification exam. So yeah, I've got some built-up resentment, not gonna lie. Anyway, I go to my parents' place and ask Nadine if I could look at Grandma's rings. I told her I'm planning to propose to Bianca, that it'd mean a lot to use something from the family, and that I remember what Grandma said. She stares at me for a second and says, "Now's not the right time." At first, I thought she didn't hear me, so I repeated it. She cuts me off and goes, "Delaney isn't engaged yet. It would just be cruel to propose before she gets a chance." I swear I just blinked for like 10 seconds, waiting for the joke. But she was dead serious. My dad, George, chimes in and says something like, "She's been having a hard time being single, Carter. You should be more considerate." I'm like, "She's not even dating anyone." Nadine goes, "That's not true. She's seeing someone. She just hasn't introduced him to the family yet." Right, because when people are in happy, stable relationships, they totally keep it a secret from their own family while throwing tantrums about other people getting engaged. Makes perfect sense. So I ask again, so because Delaney's maybe kinda sorta seeing someone no one's met, I'm supposed to hold off on proposing to the woman I've been with for years? Nadine says, "It's about fairness. It's not right for you to jump ahead like this. Like we're waiting in line at the DMV or something." I told them I wasn't asking for permission. I was letting them know out of respect, especially since Grandma said what she said to me directly. I even said I'd take one of the simpler rings. Nothing huge, just something meaningful. Nadine shut that down too. "We're not comfortable with this." I left after that. No yelling, no drama. I just stood up, told them they made their choice, and walked out. The next morning, I went to a local jeweler, Bianca, and I had passed by a few months ago. Picked out a ring I knew she'd love. Nothing over the top, but classy and personal. The woman behind the counter actually helped me design it a little, and honestly, I'm glad I went that route now. It was never about the money. I could afford a ring. I just thought it'd be special to include something from my grandma. But apparently, everything in our family has to orbit around Delaney's mood swings. I didn't tell Bianca about the ring situation right away. I didn't want to bring drama into what was supposed to be a happy time. I figured we'd deal with whatever came later. I spent the rest of the week setting things up for her birthday. Nothing elaborate, just her favorite breakfast, her favorite playlist, and the dog in a little "Say Yes, Mom" bandana. I was nervous, sure, but I knew what I wanted, and no matter what my parents thought, I wasn't going to wait for Delaney to magically find a fiancé so I could get on with my life. So her birthday came, and I stuck with the plan. I woke up early, made breakfast, French toast, fruit, coffee the way she likes it. Nothing Pinterest worthy or anything, just chill. Our dog Finn sat there watching the whole thing like he knew something was going down. I had the ring box in my hoodie pocket and could barely keep from smiling the whole time. I waited till we were sitting at the table, and she was halfway through her coffee before I just pulled the box out and set it in front of her. I didn't even give a speech or anything, just looked at her and said, "Will you marry me?" She stared at me, then at the box, then back at me and said, "Took you long enough," then smiled and said yes. We sat there grinning like idiots for the next half hour, talking about it all, where, when, who we wanted there. She was already halfway planning a spring wedding before I even said anything about timing. She mentioned how cool it would be to get married on our third anniversary, which is 6 months away. We've never been the type to draw things out, so I was like, done. Let's do it. Her family was the first to know. She FaceTimed her mom right after breakfast, and it was just pure joy. Her mom literally screamed. Her dad shook my hand so hard when we went over later that I thought I dislocated something. Everyone was just happy for us. No weird passive-aggressive stuff, no guilt trips, no weird comments about timing. Just love. Honestly, it kind of made me emotional, especially after what happened next. I figured I should give my parents the courtesy of hearing it from me, so I called them that evening. Nadine answered with that tone she always uses when she thinks I'm about to say something she won't like. I told her, "Hey, I just wanted to let you know I proposed to Bianca today." She said yes. There was this long pause, then she goes, "Well, that's disappointing. I thought maybe I heard her wrong." "What? You couldn't wait? After everything we talked about?" Then George got on speaker and said, "You knew your sister was going through something. You knew she was serious about this guy. This is just really selfish, Carter. So now apparently I'm selfish for getting engaged to my girlfriend because Delaney was maybe talking to some mystery man I've never seen or heard of. Sure. I didn't even argue. I just said, we're getting married in 6 months. You're welcome to come if you want." That set them off again. Nadine asked me if I had any idea what this would do to Delaney. "She's going to feel humiliated. It's like you're trying to rub it in her face." At that point, I just told them, if she's humiliated by my happiness, that's not my problem. And I ended the call. Bianca knew something was up. I told her everything right there. The ring conversation, the guilt trip, the weird way they were making it all about Delaney. She listened quietly and said, "Do you want them at the wedding?" I said, "I want a drama-free wedding." She nodded and said, "Then there's your answer." It was that simple. We cut them from the guest list the next day. I didn't make a big announcement about it or anything, just mentally adjusted my expectations. It sucked, but it also felt kind of freeing. Of course, that peace lasted about 48 hours. It was a Tuesday evening. Bianca and I had just finished dinner and were cleaning up when someone knocked on the door. I wasn't expecting anyone, and neither was she. I checked the peephole, and there they were. Nadine, George, and Delaney, in full family PR mode, standing in my hallway like a disappointed HOA committee. I opened the door but didn't invite them in, just stood there in the doorway. Nadine went first. "You're seriously going through with this? Cutting us out of your wedding?" I looked at her and said, "Yes." George stepped in like he was the voice of reason. "Carter, we've had disagreements before, but this is extreme. You're getting married, not moving to Mars." I folded my arms. "I'm getting married to someone you've spent the last year dismissing, judging, and undermining. And now that the invite's gone, you suddenly care?" Delaney stood off to the side, not saying a word, but I could see the smug look trying to creep onto her face. She didn't expect me to hold this boundary. None of them did. Nadine tried the classic move. Weaponized guilt. "We're your parents. We've been there since day one. You can't just erase us from this." I held my ground. "I'm not erasing anyone. You're the ones who chose not to support my relationship. You made it clear that everything had to revolve around Delaney's feelings, or it didn't matter." That got a reaction. Nadine went defensive. "That's not true. You're exaggerating. She's just had a hard year." "Yeah?" I asked. "And what about me? You ever think maybe I've had a hard decade? Being the one you never showed up for? Being treated like an afterthought while you bent over backwards to make sure Delaney felt like the center of the universe?" George tried stepping in again, calmer this time. "You're blowing this out of proportion. You could have at least told us instead of just cutting us off." I looked him in the eye. "I did tell you. I told you the second you made the ring about Delaney. I told you when you tried to guilt me for proposing to someone you don't like. I told you when you ignored every bit of joy I tried to share with you." Delaney finally spoke. "This is ridiculous. You're acting like a victim because we didn't throw you a parade." "No," I said. I'm acting like someone who finally decided he doesn't have to beg his own family to care about him. Nadine folded her arms. You'll regret this one day. I shook my head. What I regret is how long it took me to stop trying to fix something that's never been fair. They didn't like that. Delaney muttered something under her breath and turned to leave. George followed right after. Nadine lingered for a second, eyes scanning the inside of our apartment like she wanted to say something else, but didn't. I didn't wait. Good night, I said, and closed the door. Then, a couple days later, Delaney made her grand entrance into the situation. She posted on Instagram. Picture of her hand holding another hand across a candlelit dinner table. Caption, my person. Now keep in mind, I have literally never heard of this person. No name, no context, no face, just a blurry arm. And yet somehow this post got shared by Nadine with a comment that said, so happy our girl has found someone special. I wasn't even mad. I just stared at it thinking, wow, they really want this fantasy to be real. Bianca saw it and rolled her eyes. Why is your sister announcing a boyfriend like she's Beyoncé? No one in the family had met this guy. There was no tag, no other posts, no mutual connections. It was like she conjured him out of thin air just to not be upstaged. I wouldn't have thought much about it if it stopped there. But of course it didn't. Bianca and I kept planning the wedding. We made our guest list, picked a venue near her parents' house, locked in our date. Her parents offered to cover part of it, which was a lifesaver. And honestly, they made us feel like royalty the way mine never could. Then one day, Bianca's sister Jenna was scrolling Facebook while we were at brunch and went, hey, Carter, have you seen this? She turned her phone to me, and there it was. A post from Nadine. Big, pastel-colored graphic with cursive font that said, baby shower for Delaney. So excited to welcome our little one into the worlds. Join us in celebrating the soon-to-be mama. Date. Exactly the same weekend as our wedding. I just blinked at it. No explanation, no warning. Just, there it was. Like someone slapped a sticker over our date and decided it never happened. At first, I thought maybe it was some kind of error, that maybe they meant to schedule it earlier or later, and just got the date wrong. I didn't want to believe they'd actually picked the one weekend we had blocked off for one of the biggest moments of my life. But then I saw the comments. Can't wait to come. So happy for Delaney. She deserves this after the rough year she's had. All of it. Not a single mention of me or Bianca. Not a single, hey, Carter's wedding is that weekend. Should we reschedule? Nope. They'd gone all in on this baby shower. Even hired a balloon arch company, which I didn't even know was a thing, and had some Pinterest-inspired diaper cake photo in the event cover. I sent a screenshot to George and asked, really? No response. I followed up an hour later with, you're throwing Delaney a baby shower on my wedding weekend? Still nothing. Bianca, surprisingly, didn't even get mad. She just laughed in that sarcastic way she does when something's so ridiculous it's not even worth her energy. Let them have their party, she said. We'll have our wedding. One of these events actually means something. A couple of our mutual friends started getting texts from Nadine, inviting them to the shower directly, even the ones who were already confirmed on our wedding guest list. One friend literally messaged me and said, is this a joke? Did I miss something? Nope, no joke. Just the usual Delaney show. We hadn't even seen a single bump photo. No doctor updates, no ultrasound pics. She just announced it out of nowhere, and everyone rolled with it like it was gospel. Honestly, I didn't question it. I figured, whatever, not my circus. Meanwhile, the baby shower circus continued. Her registry was posted online and it was filled with high-end stuff. $300 strollers, designer diaper bags, custom nameplates, you name it. No one had even seen an ultrasound, but everyone was dropping money like this was a royal birth. I stayed out of it. I didn't say anything. Just watched as this whole thing unfolded from the sidelines while we kept planning our actual future. A week before the wedding, Bianca's dad pulled me aside and said, you know they're trying to upstage you, right? I said, let them try. That weekend, I got a final text from George. You're making things difficult. You could have handled this better. I didn't reply. I didn't care anymore. They'd made their choices. I wasn't going to waste one more ounce of energy trying to fix something they were clearly committed to breaking. Our wedding day came, and I swear it felt like the entire world outside of us didn't exist. It's all the garbage from the weeks leading up to it. My family acting like strangers, the baby shower nonsense, the silent treatment, it all kind of just vanished. For the first time in a long time, things felt peaceful. We got married on a crisp Saturday afternoon in April. The weather held up, blue sky, just enough sun to warm everyone up, and no surprise rain like the forecast was threatening earlier in the week. The ceremony was held in Bianca's uncle's backyard. But when I say backyard, don't think plastic chairs and a cooler of soda. This place looked better than half the venues we toured. Bianca walked down the aisle in a dress I hadn't seen until that moment, and I genuinely forgot how to breathe for a second. Not in a cheesy movie moment kind of way, but in a this is real and I actually made it here kind of way. Her dad teared up beside me, and I caught myself doing the same before she even got to me. The ceremony was short. We didn't write super long vows or anything, just honest stuff that we meant. I'll show up for you. We're a team. Simple. Real. It didn't need to be complicated. When the officiant said, "You may kiss the bride," someone in the back actually cheered. I turned around expecting Bianca's cousin to be messing around. But nope, it was Leo, my cousin, the one family member from my side who actually showed up. Leo was the only person from my family I invited after everything. He and I weren't close growing up. He's younger by a few years. But in the middle of all the family garbage, he quietly reached out. He didn't take sides. He just said, "If you're doing what makes you happy, I'll be there." That's all I needed to hear. After the ceremony, we kept things casual. We had a buffet with real food, not that fancy tiny portion stuff. People went back for seconds, and no one was pretending to like things they couldn't pronounce. Bianca's uncle gave a speech that made everyone laugh. Her mom danced like she was 25 again, and her best friend caught the bouquet with the kind of energy that made her boyfriend go pale. It was great. I didn't miss my parents for a single second. There was a moment around dusk when Bianca and I snuck away from the crowd and just stood near the edge of the patio, looking out at the hills. She grabbed my hand and asked, "Do you feel like anything's missing?" And I said, "No, not anymore." I meant it. We spent the night at a small inn nearby. Not some luxury thing, just a cozy spot where no one knew who we were. Slept in late the next morning, had breakfast in bed, and took our time getting packed for the mini trip we planned instead of a full-on honeymoon. We didn't feel like doing anything extravagant. We both agreed that time together somewhere quiet was more valuable than overpaying for plane tickets and trying to cram a schedule with excursions. So we rented a cabin for a week near the mountains. No emails, no social media, no updates from the outside world. It was peaceful. I swear I forgot what my phone sounded like. It was there, during that week, that it really hit me how different things felt. For years, I'd been trying to earn approval from people who made me feel like a footnote in my own life. Every time I reached a milestone, college, job offers, even buying my first car, I got nothing more than a cool from my parents. But Delaney? She dyed her hair once and they acted like she just wrote a novel. I used to think I had to fix things. That if I just explained myself better, or was a little more understanding, I'd get it. Some kind of acknowledgement, some clarity. But the wedding proved otherwise. That silence from them wasn't just passive. It was loud, purposeful. They made a choice. And so did I. We got back from the trip feeling rested and happy. Bianca jumped right back into running her firm, and I picked up 2 big consulting contracts that paid well enough to let us chill for a bit. We even started talking about maybe buying a house down the line. Something with a backyard for Finn to run around in, maybe a garage I could finally use for more than storage. Then I opened my inbox one evening and saw it. Subject line, "Hope you're doing well." Sender, Nadine. I didn't click it right away. I just stared at it for a few seconds, like it might bite me. Part of me wanted to delete it without reading. But the other part, the one that still, unfortunately, believed in common decency, clicked it. It was a short message. Said she heard we got married, wished it could have been different, and that she hoped we could talk soon. That was it. No apology, no ownership. Just a vague nod toward unfortunate events. Like she hadn't actively chosen to pretend our wedding didn't exist. I didn't reply. Not because I was angry, at least not in the way I used to be, but because I had nothing left to say. I had closed that chapter, sealed it, and started a new one. With someone who chose me the way I chose her. No conditions, no comparisons, no ultimatums. And the more I sat with it, the more I realized that I hadn't just gotten married. I'd finally gotten free. Then Leo called. I figured it was just a casual check-in. We usually talk about tech stuff or football, maybe complain about work. But this time, he was clearly holding back a laugh right from the start. "You got a minute?" he asked. "Yeah, what's up?" He goes, "So, I saw Delaney the other night, at that cafe downtown. She was with a friend of mine. Small world, right?" I waited, already sensing that this wasn't going to be a simple run-in story. She was really going off about how her parents owe her big time, and how she's got Carter right where she wants him. My buddy thought she was just being weird, but I sat down and started piecing stuff together. Now, I hadn't talked to Delaney in months. Last time we spoke was that cryptic text before the wedding about me stealing her moment, which I left unread. So hearing that she was still ranting about me like I'd personally sabotaged her was wild, but not shocking. Leo goes on. She started bragging about how she faked the pregnancy to shift attention back to herself, like full-on admitted it. I just sat there. Not even mad, just stunned. Wait, she what? She made the whole thing up, man. No baby, no doctor, no boyfriend, nothing. She said she thought it'd be a soft way to get everyone back on her side after you embarrassed her by getting married. I wish I could say I was surprised, but if I'm being honest, it tracked. Delaney had been pulling stunts like this our whole lives, just not on this scale. When we were kids, she once pretended to faint during my birthday party because she wasn't getting enough attention. She milked it for hours, got my presents taken away, and ended up eating my slice of cake. I was 8, and I still remember it. Leo didn't stop there. She also admitted the guy she was dating was fake. She used a photo from Pinterest for the soft launch, literally Googled guy's arm candlelit dinner and cropped it. I couldn't help but laugh at that. Like what? She made a whole backstory for him too, Leo said. Told people he was from Italy, worked in finance, and was traveling a lot, which is why no one met him. So that's why I never saw a tagged photo, never got a name, never heard anything real about the so-called boyfriend. Because there wasn't one. She fabricated the entire thing just to maintain this illusion that she wasn't getting left behind. And not only that, she used it to guilt our parents into ignoring my wedding. That's what got to me the most. Nadine and George had rallied behind her like she was carrying the next royal heir. They threw a baby shower, sent out invites, bought expensive baby gear, posted all over social media like they were living the dream. And they never once questioned anything. No doctor visits, no ultrasounds, no timeline. Just blind loyalty because it was Delaney. I asked Leo if he thought our parents knew. He hesitated for a second. I think they know now. Maybe they didn't at first. But Nadine was at the bar too. She didn't say much, but when Delaney said she made it all up, your mom didn't look surprised. On that part hit harder than I expected. Because it wasn't just about Delaney being messy. It was about my parents going along with it, covering for her, pretending it wasn't happening, and doing all that while completely cutting me and Bianca off like we were the problem. And to be real, it wasn't just about the wedding or the ring anymore. It was everything. All the years of being treated like the extra, the default, the he'll be fine on his own sibling, the one they didn't have to check on or care about because I wasn't the one causing chaos. Bianca walked into the room while I was still on the phone and saw my face. Everything okay? She asked. Want to hear something insane? I told her the whole story, every word Leo had just shared. She didn't interrupt once, just sat there listening, arms crossed, expression slowly shifting from confusion to disbelief to that cold, focused look she gets when someone's trying to mess with people she cares about. When I finished, she said, she's been playing the long game. And I realized, yeah, she had. Delaney wasn't just being dramatic. She was trying to manipulate our family into isolating us. And it almost worked. Everything suddenly made sense. The timing of the baby shower, the soft launch boyfriend, the silence after the wedding. Delaney had been building a narrative, and our parents had been handing her the paintbrush. I thought I was done with them after the wedding. But this was different. This wasn't just about cutting ties. This was about setting the record straight. I didn't sit on it. The second Leo told me everything, I didn't even wait a full day. I gave myself one night to cool off, then drove straight to my parents' place the next afternoon. No heads up, no text, nothing. I wasn't about to let them sweep this under the rug like every other thing they've enabled over the years. They wanted to act like Delaney's drama was real? Fine. They could explain it to my face now. When Nadine opened the door, she blinked like she'd seen a ghost. Carter, she said, all wide-eyed, like I was the problem just for showing up. Where's Delaney? I asked. She hesitated. She's not feeling well. Yeah, I cut in. I bet pretending to be pregnant is exhausting. She froze. That told me everything I needed to know. George showed up in the hallway a second later, rubbing his neck like he'd just woken up from a nap and didn't want to deal with any of this. Typical. I know everything, I said. The fake boyfriend. The fake baby. The shower you threw while pretending I didn't exist. They didn't even deny it. Just stared like kids who got caught cheating on a group project. I don't even care that she lied, I said. That's her problem. What pisses me off is that you let it happen. You let her steal the spotlight from my wedding and didn't have the spine to ask one real question. You chose her lies over my actual life. Nadine tried to say, she was in a bad place. I raised my hand. Number, Don't do that. Don't make excuses. She manipulated all of you and you let her. They didn't apologize, not once. They just stood there like I was ruining some illusion they were still trying to maintain. I turned to leave, then paused in the doorway. Tell Delaney not to text my wife again. And don't contact me unless it's to take accountability for what you did. Until then, we're done. Then I walked out. No shouting, no big dramatic exit. Just the end of something that should have ended a long time ago. Then a couple of weeks later, Delaney texted me out of nowhere, acting like we were just two siblings who hadn't caught up in a while. No mention of the wedding. No acknowledgement of her disappearing act. Just a casual, "Hey Carter, hope you and Bianca are doing great. I was wondering if she's looking for any new hires at her firm. I'm trying to get serious about my career, and I think I'd be a great fit." I just stared at my phone like, is this real? She faked a pregnancy, lied to the whole family, skipped my wedding, and now she's treating Bianca's business like it's a free internship program for people who list vibes as a skill on their resume? I showed Bianca the message. She didn't even blink, just let out this quiet laugh and said, "Do you want to respond, or should I?" "You take it," I said, and I meant it. So Bianca, being Bianca, replied, "Hi Delaney, we're not hiring, but thanks for your interest, P.S. We prefer applicants who tell the truth. All the best." I could have dropped my phone from how hard I laughed, and I thought that would be it. You'd think a message like that would give someone the hint. But nope, she doubled down. Delaney replied the next day like nothing happened. "No worries. Let me know if something opens up. I really admire how far you've come, and I'd love to be part of something like that." It wasn't even subtle. It was clear as day what she was doing, trying to cozy up to Bianca now that she saw things were going well for us. There was no actual interest in growth or stability. She wanted a shortcut, and she thought Bianca might be the easy way in. Right around then, I got an email from Nadine. The subject line was, "Let's start fresh." This time it was longer than the last one. She talked about how family goes through phases, how tensions were high earlier in the year, and how they were hoping to reconnect. She also slipped in that Delaney was really working on herself lately and might benefit from some mentorship. Mentorship? Are you serious? I didn't even bother replying. I forwarded the email to Leo just so we could laugh about it together. He responded with, "They must think Bianca's running a daycare for adult toddlers." The more I thought about it, the more it pissed me off. Not just because of the fake pregnancy or the job begging, but because they were so confident I'd cave. Like I'd forget how they treated me. Like I'd just hand over access to my wife's business and say, "Sure, come on in. Mess with this part of my life too." They really thought I was still the same guy who used to show up to every family dinner with gifts, who used to call on birthdays even when no one remembered mine, who used to try to keep things together because no one else would. Bianca saw it clearly way before I did. "They're not trying to fix anything," she said. "They're just circling back now that they think you have something to offer." And that was the truth. They didn't want me back. They wanted what being connected to me could give them now. Bianca's firm was growing fast. She had new clients, a stronger reputation, and people in politics reaching out to her for advice. We weren't rich by any stretch, but we were building something. And for the first time in my life, I wasn't chasing anyone's approval while doing it. About a month later, Bianca got invited to speak at a panel hosted by a regional business group. Nothing huge, but still a big moment for her. We posted a photo afterward, just the two of us standing outside the venue, her in a sharp black blazer, me smiling like an idiot who lucked out. Delaney liked the post. I don't even follow her. I only saw it because Bianca noticed and showed me. "Your sister's watching," she said. I just shook my head. Let her. And that's really where I'm leaving it. No blowout confrontation. No big family apology. Just distance. Peaceful. Satisfying distance. I'm not trying to destroy anyone. I don't need revenge. I already won. They gambled on me being weak. They thought I'd choose them no matter what they did. They thought Bianca was a phase, that I'd come crawling back when they withheld enough things. Instead, I built a life without them. Now they're knocking at the door again, but the lock's changed. There's no key anymore. Just the memory of how they treated me when I finally stood up for myself. I married a woman who sees through fake people like glass. And together, we're building something none of them ever thought I could have. They had their chance. Now they can watch from the outside.